People in positions similar to mine can't afford to accept the status quo.
Using a wheelchair.
John's in a 25, 30-year-old building. How do we make that work without rebuilding the building?
For people outside of our lived experience, all they can do is accept the status quo. They might not even realize that the status quo is problematic.
A foot switch activates his
It
PC.
really makes us think outside the box. The ripple effect of what we can do across campus, to me, is amazing.
What's accessible for someone isn't necessarily accessible for anyone else. And a lot of people sometimes think of accessible features as a one-size-fits-all.
In a video, a man signs, "My Journey, John Porter," his Microsoft ID.
My name is John Porter, and I am a user experience designer at Microsoft. When I was in high school, I could no longer hold a pencil and write on paper. I had to develop the ability to do incredibly complex math solutions in my head. It used to be very funny to, turn in my homework and have the teacher say, "Oh, you didn't show your work." It was like, really? We're gonna have this conversation?
In his motorized wheelchair.
I have found that being incredibly stubborn is a really powerful tool for someone that faces a lot of barriers. Because at the end of the day, the barriers are never going to all disappear. There's always going to be friction.
Approaching a switch-activated door.
I have to get in through a secure door into the building. People think, oh, buildings, they have buttons to automatically open. That's a solved problem. But for me, if you're someone that cannot use your hands, that means that not only can I not hit the button to open the door, I also can't swipe my badge to unlock the door.
Waiting at an elevator.
Once I'm through the door, if you can't use the elevator buttons, then the fact that the elevator exists isn't that big of a help for you without assistance.
A colleague calls the elevator.
Almost all of my interaction with my computer is mediated by speech recognition technology.
The foot switch.
It's critical to have a very audio-controlled environment. You can't have a lot of background noise, which is tricky because we're all in open office environments. And so while my entire team is in one location, on one floor, I'm on a totally different floor in an office all by myself. It's going to be a very liberating feeling to not be reliant on that assistance from other people.
From above, a wide building, real estate and facilities.
There's so many people like John out there. That's a huge job force that we could tap into if they can function in our buildings and feel included and empowered. I am Melissa Krosky. I'm a Senior Development Manager with re&f. It's been great working with John. I mean, he's been very collaborative and very open on the challenges he faces. We have changed out the card reader to be one that recognizes a Bluetooth signal to recognize him as he approaches the door, authenticates he has access, and it unlocks the door. We've changed out the automatic door opener from the normal square to one that's a bar that goes all the way to the floor so he can tap it with his wheelchair. Elevators are even trickier just because there's certain things we can do by code. There's a Bluetooth beacon in the elevator vestibule, and then we had to write a piece of code that interacts with the controls. So it's essentially an extension of the buttons that we push, and John can use his voice activation software on his mobile device to call the elevator and tell it which floor to go to.
Elevator assist, call third floor.
Next, John motors into an open room. A colleague holds the door open.
Inclusion isn't a constraint. It's about finding new opportunities to innovate. If you push yourself to be inclusive, you're going to create things that you quite literally never would have otherwise. Everyone needs to have a seat at the table of creating our future. This is a journey that I need everyone to join me on.
Building renovations.
If you're an employee at Microsoft, it's not just my mission, it's yours too.
He rolls toward and into an office. A modified door switch is at right.